July 8th, 2014. The entire nation of Brazil held its breath. For decades, football had been more than just a sport in Brazil. It was part of the country's identity. Children grew up dreaming of wearing the yellow jersey. Streets filled with football games every evening. Legends like Pelé, Ronaldo Nazario, and Ronaldinho had turned Brazil into the most feared football nation on earth. Now the World Cup had returned home. The tournament was being played on Brazilian soil, and millions believed destiny was calling. After years of waiting, Brazil seemed ready to lift the trophy in front of its own people. But a few days before the biggest match of the tournament, disaster struck. In the quarterfinal against Colombia, Brazil's biggest star, Neymar, suffered a serious back injury. The challenge left him unable to continue in the tournament. The images spread across the world. Neymar crying, fans crying, an entire country worried. Suddenly, the dream looked fragile. Yet despite the fear, Brazilian fans remained hopeful. They believed their team could overcome any obstacle. All they had to do was defeat Germany in the semifinal. On paper, Germany were strong, very strong. Their squad was packed with talent. But this was Brazil, at home, in front of 80,000 supporters. How could they possibly fail? Hours before kickoff, the atmosphere around the stadium felt electric. Fans sang songs. Flags waved in every direction. People painted their faces yellow and green. Many believed they were about to witness another legendary chapter in Brazilian football history. Nobody imagined they were about to witness a nightmare. The referee blew the whistle. The match began. For the opening minutes, Brazil tried to attack aggressively. The crowd roared every time the team crossed midfield. Germany looked calm, patient, focused. There was no panic, no rush, just confidence. Then, in the 11th minute, Germany won a corner. The ball curled into the penalty area. Brazilian defenders lost track of their marks. Standing almost completely unchallenged was Thomas Müller. The German forward calmly met the ball and guided it into the net. Germany led 1-0. The stadium fell silent. Not completely silent, but quieter, much quieter. There was still belief. After all, it was only one goal. Brazil had plenty of time. The crowd tried to lift the players. Fans sang louder. Supporters waved flags even harder. But Germany sensed weakness, and they were about to strike again. What happened next would become one of the most shocking moments in sports history. In the 23rd minute, Germany launched another attack. The Brazilian defense looked nervous. Passes moved quickly between German players. The ball reached Miroslav Klose. His first shot was saved, but the rebound returned directly to him. This time he didn't miss. The ball hit the net. 2-0. Germany had doubled their lead. As Klose celebrated, another piece of history was made. That goal made him the highest scorer in World Cup history. But few people noticed, because something even bigger was unfolding. Brazil looked stunned. The players appeared frozen. Their confidence vanished. And Germany could smell blood. Just 1 minute later, Germany attacked again. The ball moved through midfield with incredible speed. Brazilian defenders chased shadows. A pass found Toni Kroos near the edge of the box. He struck the ball perfectly. Goal. 3-0. The stadium could barely process what had happened. Fans stared in disbelief. Some looked at each other as if asking whether this was real. But before anyone could recover, Germany attacked once more. Less than 2 minutes later, Brazil lost possession again. A mistake. A quick interception. The ball fell to Kroos. Another shot. Another goal. 4-0. 4 goals. Before the 30th minute, the impossible was happening. Television cameras captured supporters crying. Children covered their faces. Adults sat motionless. The atmosphere had changed completely. The celebration had become a funeral. Still, Germany were not finished. In the 29th minute, another attack sliced through Brazil. Every German pass seemed perfect. Every Brazilian defender looked lost. Sami Khedira exchanged quick passes with teammates before finishing calmly. 5-0. 5 goals in less than 30 minutes. The scoreboard looked fake. People around the world checked their screens repeatedly. Surely there was some mistake. Surely Brazil would wake up. Surely this couldn't be happening. But it was. Germany had scored 4 goals in just 6 minutes. 6 minutes. One of the greatest football nations in history had completely collapsed. The camera focused on Brazilian supporters. Many were crying uncontrollably. Some prayed. Others simply stared into space. No words could explain what they were witnessing. The players looked broken. Every pass seemed nervous. Every movement seemed desperate. Germany, meanwhile, looked unstoppable. Their football was beautiful, efficient, merciless. Every attack created danger. Every touch seemed perfect. As halftime approached, the crowd no longer cheered. The noise had disappeared. Only shock remained. When the referee finally ended the first half, many Brazilian fans welcomed the whistle as a form of mercy. The score was 5-0. At halftime, in a World Cup semifinal, on Brazilian soil, against Brazil, nobody had ever imagined such a scoreline. Inside homes across the country, families sat in silence. Some people turned off their televisions. Others continued watching, unable to believe what they were seeing. The second half began. Brazil attempted to respond. Pride demanded a reaction. The players pushed forward. They created a few chances. But Germany remained organized, disciplined, focused. Every Brazilian attack ended in frustration. Then Germany struck again. In the 69th minute, Andre Schürrle received the ball inside the penalty area. He finished powerfully. 6-0. The suffering continued. The stadium looked exhausted. Fans no longer reacted. There was nothing left to say. Yet Germany still had one final masterpiece. 10 minutes later, Schürrle received another pass. This time, he unleashed an incredible shot into the top corner. The ball exploded into the roof of the net. 7-0. 7-0. For a moment, even German supporters seemed stunned. Nobody had expected this. Not even the Germans. The scoreboard displayed a result that looked impossible. Brazil 7-time champions? No. Brazil 7 goals conceded. Germany 7 goals scored. The cameras showed supporters in tears. One elderly fan sat completely motionless. A young child cried into his mother's shoulder. People who had dreamed of witnessing history were witnessing humiliation instead. Yet football can be cruel. Even after all the pain, Brazil continued attacking. Finally, in the final minutes, Oscar managed to score. The ball crossed the line. The score became 7-1. Under normal circumstances, a goal would have sparked celebration. But not tonight. There were no celebrations, no joy, no relief. The goal changed nothing. The damage had already been done. A few moments later, the referee blew the final whistle. Germany 7. Brazil 1. The match was over, but its impact was only beginning. German players celebrated one of the greatest performances in World Cup history. Brazilian players collapsed onto the field. Some cried. Others stared into the distance. The dream had died, and it had died in the most painful way imaginable. Around the world, newspapers rushed to print special editions. Sports channels replayed the goals endlessly. Fans struggled to understand what they had witnessed. Social media exploded. Millions of reactions appeared within hours. Many called it the greatest upset in football history. Others called it the darkest night in Brazilian football. Years later, people would still remember exactly where they were when they watched that match. Because some sporting moments become larger than sport itself. This was one of them. For Germany, the victory became a symbol of preparation, teamwork, and ruthless efficiency. For Brazil, it became a lesson in pressure, expectation, and heartbreak. The defeat left scars that lasted for years. Players were criticized. Coaches lost their jobs. Questions were asked about the future of Brazilian football. How could the greatest football nation suffer such a collapse? The answer remains debated even today. Some blame tactics. Some blame pressure. Some point to Neymar's absence. Others simply believe Germany played one of the greatest matches ever seen. Perhaps all of those explanations are true, but one fact remains undeniable. On that night, football witnessed something that seemed impossible, a result so shocking that it entered history immediately, a scoreline so unbelievable that fans still talk about more than a decade later. When people hear the numbers 7 and 1 together, they don't think of statistics. They think of Brazil. They think of Germany. They think of tears in the stands. They think of disbelief on the pitch. They think of a nation watching its dream collapse in front of the entire world. Football has produced countless legendary matches, great finals, historic comebacks, unforgettable goals. But very few moments have shocked the world like Brazil versus Germany in 2014. It wasn't just a defeat. It wasn't just a bad performance. It was a moment that changed how football fans viewed the impossible. Because if Brazil could lose 7-1 at home in a World Cup semifinal, then anything could happen in football. And that is why, even today, this match remains one of the most unforgettable nights the sport has ever seen. Before you go, tell us what you think. Was Brazil's 7-1 defeat the greatest shock in football history? Or have you seen an even more unbelievable match? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next football story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary. Soccer Ball Fire Trophy.